Hey everyone, and I want to welcome you to the launch of Stories of Hope. This episode is going to be a little different. We are live here at Doingalick Studios, and we want to say thank you so much to Pam Burnside for allowing us to use her space. I have with me four amazing people who are going to be sharing their reflections. So we call this post Mother's Day reflections, stories or a conversation on, finding hope through the difficult seasons. And that's what this is really, really going to be about. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You can start however you want. We're not going to, like go on a line or anything. But what we want to know is who you are. So tell us your name. Tell us a little bit about your mom and the passing and anything you feel comfortable sharing.
Well, I'll go first. I'm Tarahan. My mother passed away October 20th, 2016. She battled with lupus for 20 years. And it was one of the most challenging experiences of my life. And this Mother's Day was quite a difficult one. I'm just glad to be here to be able to share that now.
And me, it's lupus awareness.
It is.
So my name is Nikita. My mom is Esteem Twine-Glass, and she passed away November 4th, 2015. She had renal failure. For 15 years, but surprisingly, she had a stroke, multiple strokes, and that took her. Mother's Day was really hard for me, surprisingly. Really, really hard.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Shandia Saunders, and my mom passed January 18, 2015. She had a rare type of lupus. Her death was pretty sudden. Yeah, we have something in common. And this Mother's Day was extremely difficult, even though it was my second Mother's Day without my mom. This one was very difficult.
My name is Zemi. My mother died November 25th, 2002. I was 12. She died of an asthma attack very suddenly. Was not her first asthma attack or serious asthma attack, but a lot of the circumstances surrounding that day led to her death. This is one of many Mother's Days. I wouldn't say Mother's Day was hard. For me, the days leading up to Mother's Day are hard as I prep myself. So I had a few heavy moments the days leading up to Mother's Day to kind of for my friends and to be able to share with my now fiance, his mother, etc.
So just a little background. We got here with this live conversation because I connected with Zemi a couple years ago, and then she will be releasing her story later this week and next week. But she shared about what she coined the term motherlessness. And me as a psychologist, I've always been more aware of moments that other people may totally miss. And that's simply because obviously I'm working with persons and helping them on their things. And I thought, some people may be like, well, it's kind of morbid. Why would you want to, talk about death on Mother's Day? But the reality is not everybody is celebrating during this time. And I think there should be a greater awareness about that so that whether it is that you have lost somebody on a special day and you know what that feels like, or maybe you have somebody who you are in relationship with, you can kind of get a better sense so that you can be more empathetic, you can be more understanding, and you can be a better support during that time. So you guys kind of already said, Mother's Day was hard. Can you tell me what do you do, or, what did you do? What is the new normal? That's a term that I like to use because that's really what life is. Post-death, any kind of loss, there is each day creating a new normal. What has that been like for you in relationship to Mother's Day? And if not Mother's Day, then some other occasion that may have been significant for you.
Well, I don't know if I would call it a new normal, but it's just honoring her by doing the things that I know she likes to do. I'm not an avid church goer. I went to church, her church, our church, I went to the graveyard. I typically go to the graveyard on her birthday. I've never been on Mother's Day, but I was just drawn to go. And I just sat. And I just sat there and I was talking to her and I just was telling her I missed her. And I know she wanted so much from me, and she always like, you just have to live. No, live. And I'm like, I'm living, but I miss you. And I said, the void is still there. And it was just hard. Because the first Mother's Day, I probably was in shock, denial, whatever. I was going through the motions. But this Mother's Day, it was just crashing. And everyone was calling, are you okay? I'm okay, until I got there. And then when I was in church, and like, she would grab those cowbells and she would be shaking them. I'm shaking the cowbells. So it was just the void.
I think for me, one of the things leading up to the actual date, Mother's Day on Sunday, was trying to figure out exactly what I would immerse myself in to try to get rid of the whole morbid thought of death. And so I surrounded myself with a lot of my family members and friends because I did not want to deal with that. It's still new to me. This is my mother died when I was in Canada. She remarked about the fact that I lived in so many other countries. I'm an industrial designer, project manager, and she always raved about her son and her children. She loved her children. But this was a day that with so much regret, I suppose, I feared this day, this Mother's Day, when we always celebrated. What would I do on this day when she was not here? And so my family members called me, my brother specifically called me and asked me to go to the graveyard. And I said, I'm not going. It was too much to handle. It was too much to deal with. And as strong as I am, as strong as she helped me to become, it was too much for me to handle. And so I couldn't deal with that.
I would have to agree with you. This is actually my second Mother's Day without my mom, but it felt like my first. Because the first year, I totally acted like Mother's Day didn't exist. I purposely took a contract that had me busy that entire Sunday. So the rest of my sisters, they went to the graveyard and I refused to go. And so that is me creating my new normal, knowing what I can handle or what I'm not ready to handle. So that was even different as Bahamian families. So, you have to go to the graveyard. You have to, sometimes you're not ready to and you have to do it. That's okay, And so this Mother's Day was different. It felt like the very first Mother's Day. And I find myself, special occasions like birthdays, Christmas, I find myself getting very uptight leading up to that day, because I know that day is approaching very quickly. So actually, it was more painful leading up to that day than the actual day because I found myself having headaches and not being myself, and I normally get really sick, believe it or not. Christmas time, her birthday, Mother's Day, and so Sunday, I stayed home. I stayed home and I was able to say this year, God, thank you for 25 years that I did have with my mom.
I would say each Mother's Day is different. Some days you can be kind, you can go to church, you can see everyone be celebrated. And then sometimes you just have to pull away. Sometimes you cry all day. Sometimes you read old letters or go through old pictures and you're just a total wreck. So every single Mother's Day has been different. I never know how I'm going to be until the day arrives. So, like I mentioned earlier, it was a lot of prep work, getting ready, a lot of things happening right now that I wish she was here for. I'm about to graduate university next month, just got engaged. And so it's the emotional climate is very, very high. And so you anticipated and you expected her to be around for all these things, and she's not here. And so, going into Mother's Day, you're reminded of this, there's so many advertisements, and then you also want to be happy for everyone. So I think, a big part of it is knowing what you can handle. If you can't handle all the Mother's Day posts, you got to log on Instagram, you got to come on Facebook, you got to pull away and then come back. I can do it, I can like them. I get to a point, it's like, okay, I can't do right now I gotta shut this down, I gotta go pull away. And you have to be honest, you have to tell the people around you, hey, right now I need some space, right now, this is what I'm going through, I don't feel okay, I don't really feel like socializing, and you prep them too. I had a couple people reach out to me and ask me how I was doing. I said, I'm fine. The walls are up. By the time that day comes, the walls are up. If you don't pull the walls up, if you don't pull yourself together, you're just gonna crumble under. You have so many reminders on that one day. So unless you pull it together, strengthen yourself, you just can't. I don't think you can make it.
So if I had to summarize just from what you said, it sounds like for those of you who are going to be joining and listening, it is the days leading up that is in some ways as bad or even worse than the day of, as it is the dread.
Mm-hmm.
It is the dread and the fear. Would you say it's the same? Well, Shandia, you said it. Any special occasion, Christmas, birthdays, it's similar, where it's kind of like, oh, I know this is coming, and this is normally what I would have, or who I would have with me, or what we would be doing, and now how do I emotionally, mentally prepare for it? And then you said it, the walls are up by then. So is it a respecting your space? What would you like? If you could, just anyone jump in, what would you like for your support to do, to be? Is it the days leading up? Is it on the day? Is it?
You spoke to, and Shandia spoke to it earlier, she mentioned it earlier about getting ill. My mother died 10 days before her birthday and 15 days before mine. Our funeral was on the day before her birthday, and then we had to travel for my birthday. And so you can imagine, I'm walking to one of my favorite malls, Aventura Mall, and I'm trying to enjoy this Armani Exchange Express. I'm trying to enjoy it, and I can't because I'm physically ailing, because mentally I'm not there. Christmas was not as difficult because I literally thrust it out of my mind. Christmas didn't exist for me, which was something that was a norm for us, decorating the house, cooking together, all of those sorts of things. But I cancel it out of my mind. One of the things that I use as a share, and I think that is pivotal, you must get the people that you know are going to bring some sort of comfort, where your mother, who would have been your all in all, like she was to me, that those people must be the fillers. If that makes sense.
I can relate to that because my mom is like the glue, and it's so obvious that she's missing that I'm trying to be the glue. I'm trying to be the glue that holds all of us together. Her siblings, my siblings, her nieces, she was the glue. She called everyone every day. So I try to reach out to everyone every day. I try to do things with everybody every day, to the point where I'm exhausted, so I don't have time to think. And which is not good because studying psychology as well, psychosomatic symptoms, I am plagued with them. Plagued. Because I would not stop to grieve properly.
So psychosomatic symptoms, for those who don't know, it is you having physical pain that really has no physical root, it has no organic root in it. It's really because of your emotions. And people don't realize that when we stuff our emotions, when we hide our pain, when we don't deal with it, when we don't face it, that it has to come out some way, and sometimes the way that it comes out is through our physical body. For those of you who want to hear more about that, I just blogged about that, so you can go to the website and check it out. But just talking about the pain and facing it, because the first time you face it is always going to be the hardest. Each time it's going to get a little easier. I ain't saying it's going to get a lot easier, but that first time facing it, dealing with it, is the hardest, which makes sense why, Shandia, you ignored it last year, and so that's why this year it may have actually hit you like a ton of bricks, because you pretty much shut it up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's shift a little bit and talk about hope. When I thought about this platform to share the stories of ordinary people, it was because I found that hope seems to be the thing that fueled a lot of life. It especially those moments when it's difficult, when you're down and out, it is that hope. So what has hope meant for you through this loss? How has it impacted you? Have you thought about it? Do you see it anywhere functioning for you?
I do. I believe in living her legacy. Love unconditionally, accept, forgive. And I try to emulate that because I want her to stay alive. To everybody, love, forgive, move on, and just live. That's the bottom line for me from her. So that's what I try to do. That's my hope. And I know that every day is not going to be rosy. It's not going to be rosy, but it's going to be good. It's going to be fine.
There were three things that my mother said to me before I moved to Canada. I moved to Canada late last year. And there were three words that I hold near and dear true. And it was something that she adopted from her church at Living Waters. And it was transformation, activation, and transition. And before I went to Canada, she gave me those words, and those words indelibly were ingrained in my psyche. And I know that is what has kept me, even throughout the most difficult and painful moments. When really in truth, I want to hear her laugh again. But I could feel it. I could feel her laughter. I could feel her joy. And that is the hope that I have. The hope that I have is within me, and that is those three words come alive every single time I think about her. I think about the transition. I think about the activation. Because it's interesting, for almost all of my life, she was there through all of my turmoil. I was in the hospital for a month after an explosion, and yet, only until it was time did she pass away. That is a sense of hope, like, you were there, you're good.
Hope, he said something that kind of sparked a memory for me. My mom used to she liked to sing when the road seems rough, when you've toiled enough. It's a Bahamian song, don't faint, don't sad, don't cry, wonder why, just keep on trying. So every so often when I'm going through something really, really traumatic in my life, I sing that song to myself. And it's essentially her encouraging me from that place. And even though I had it for such a short period of time, I still, use a lot of the things that she taught me as a young girl. Like, young ladies wash their face as soon as they wake up. Little things like this, like don't saturate the cotton ball when you're taking off your nail polish. Little things I have to remind myself, as I grow up. But hope for me. So I had to, in my walk, I think I lost my mother unburied emotionally for 11 years. And I only remember this date because I just recently saw a post. I didn't bury her. She was still alive emotionally in my life year after year after year. And what helped me to release that was, one, realizing that, you can't spend your whole life living for someone else. And based on what you said, it sounds like you are walking that up right now. It comes to a point in your life where you have to, kind of release them. They lived their life. They left a strong legacy. They left you. And then you have to go on and you have to create this legacy. You always bring honor to their memory by living your best life. And so I had to kind of release her. And I said, okay, I'm an adult now. I made it through my teenage years. Didn't get pregnant as a teenager. I did this, I did that. I did the things that I should have done to bring honor to her memory. And to make her seem like a great parent, even though she left me so young. And now I have to go on and live my life and live it in a way that makes me happy and brings honor to my legacy and also hers. And finally, hope, finally healing and feeling like there's pieces of me that are now mended was when I gave my life to Christ. And that happened almost 4 years ago, which coincides with the time that I felt like I finally buried her. That moment, you still experience pain, but there's a promise in Revelation that is the reason I fully committed my life to Christ. And it's when God personally says, I will wipe away every single tear from your eyes. I will destroy death. And so when I read that and I realized that this God, my God, cares about not just my pain, but destroying death, something that can break families, destroy lives, leave these huge wounds in people, change the course of their life forever. He cares about that. He cares about you. He cares about ridding that. That totally transformed my life. And, just that message helped me to just keep going and inspire hope in me that, takes me through every hard day.
Well, firstly, let me say that hope doesn't come easy to some people. Sometimes you find hope within a year after your mom passed. Sometimes you find hope 5 years later. So I just wanted to make that known. It's not, don't rush it, or don't feel like something is wrong with you, because it takes time. I I was waking up every day, for a long time after my mom passed, months passed, but I was still hopeless. I still was trying to find the reason to live beyond, her not being here. And so really when God gave me the reason that Shandia, I did not do this to hurt you, or when I'm able to sit with someone next to me who would have lost their mom, and I'm able to encourage them, that is hope for me. No matter the pain that I'm feeling, I'm able to encourage. That is hope, and hope looks different for everyone. And I need you to understand that hope is different for everyone. Zemi hope may be definitely different in mine. My hope was finding the why to go. Why should I go on without her? My all. So just remember that sometimes it takes a while, and finding the reason why beyond the death of your loved one is really what hope is.
Now, some of you have already talked about it, but for those of you who haven't, I want to give you an opportunity. How do you keep your mom's memory alive? Nikita, you said it already. Zem talked about it a little bit. Tarahan, did you? Specifically, her memory. And then Shandia.
I suppose some of the things that my mom taught me, she was OCD to the core. And so she was very meticulous, and she made sure that our house was always in order. She made sure that her family always ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She was an organizer to the core, and some of the things that I do, even when I lead my meetings, I do the very same things. And some people would say to me, of course, I have some of her gestures and some of her, some of her qualms, and that, I know. that is a part of her. That is a part of her that I keep alive, because I can feel her. Like, my mother is my mother, and she has passed and left the earth. But I have something greater that she has put inside of me as her son, and I love that. And that would never die.
Yeah. Well, I give my mom's, not a lot of people know, but I could be quite funny. Okay, like comedian, like when I'm ready. So my mom, she was the life of the party. Always smiling, always helping persons. And even before she died, that was a trait that I always had. And so to see that it's actually, more, coming out even more as she passes, very special to me. The way that she loved people without, she loved beyond their faults. That was a rare, that's something rare that not a lot of people have. So I'm glad that I was able to, get that trait. And I started a company called E-Lily in honor of my mother and grandmother, which is Barbara and Lily. E, so Barbara, and Lily is my grandmother. So that keeps her memory alive for me as well.
So I am a psychologist and a therapist, but my mom is still alive. So I will never say to anybody that I understand what they're going through. And in fact, even if she had died, I still couldn't say to any of you, because the dynamics of the relationship are different, the situations are different. But what you can do, as you all have related, there are overlaps in your story, in your experiences. And so for the person who may click on in another couple of weeks, in another year, in another month, what can you leave with them as we wrap this up? Something that's going to bring hope to them in this, through the loss, something that's going to bring hope. Maybe this will be replayed for Mother's Day next year or for Christmas or something that will help them to get through or to get over.
Okay, I'll start. One of the things that I think works best is always write out your feelings. As Shandia said, it takes time for healing. Healing takes time. Don't rush yourself. You need not rush yourself. Be honest about your feelings. Be honest about where you are in your life, in your emotions, and that helps you to not have those psychosomatic states. It helps you greatly, and it helps you to overcome. And the more you talk about things, the more you write things out, the better it'll be for you. So when you watch this now, maybe it may be months from now, it may be a year from now, or whenever it may be, always remember, let time heal the wounds.
What I would say is that when you look at yourself, you're always going to see your mom. Because one thing we all have in common right here is that we have traits that our mother gave us. And it's amazing because you can look at yourself and you do something, you say, "See, like mom? She's like mom, I'm like my mom." We're all like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you would always see your mom. She's always there. Granted, we can't physically touch her, but sometimes when we just close our eyes and memorize our memory, imagine that she's present, it's going to guide you every day. Every day. And it'll get easier. But she'll always be there.
I would say grief is a journey. Create your own blueprint. Don't let anyone tell you how you should feel and how you should grieve, because that adds more grief on top of your grief. When persons would tell me, think about the happy moments. I think about the happy moments all the time, but sometimes it's, you know what I mean? Those make me cry because I'm longing those happy moments, and I know that's their way of comforting you, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's your journey, find that support system, those persons that you could be vulnerable with, say, I'm not doing well right now, and those persons that's able to pray you through, because some days it's going to be really, really difficult. Find a safe place, wherever that is, if that's church for you, if that's dancing, whatever it is, find your safe place. What is it? The beach. If that's going to your mom's grave, and that's one thing that Zemi taught me when she reached out to me when I lost my mom. Because everybody has a way, especially in the Bahamas, of how you should grieve, when you should do this. And she said everybody's journey is different, and we must realize that. And we must and for those of you who, are suffering the loss with the person that suffered the loss, just bear with them. Sometimes they're not, speaking to my friends, they have to bear with me. Just bear with them. It's an emotional journey every single day, like Zemi said earlier. She said one mother said I could be fine. The other mother said I don't know how I will react. So it's, realizing that you're not in this alone, that you have people who walking with you, and it's difficult on them as well. So just take in consideration the whole picture. You're not alone, and it wasn't meant to hurt you. That helped me, those words. The passing of your loved one was not meant to hurt you.
So as the veteran of the group, I can agree with what everyone said. I have a whole book of things that I wrote to get me through the loss of my mother. Poems about the day she died, about reflecting on the memory, happy times, sad times, and that's helped me so much. And even the psychologists in the room can testify that is scientifically proven that writing about your experiences helps you to heal. But I want to talk to those who are walking with someone who is going through a loss. And I want you to know that you have to read the triggers. You have to, know they may get a little bit more fussy. They may pick some more arguments. They may get a little bit more needy. They may pull away. They may shut you out. And you have to really learn year by year, event by event, how to navigate those events. You know, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, oh, I only need to show up on Mother's Day. Oh, I only need to show up when it's her birthday. I just gotta remember the death date. You know, you have to really hone in on what's going on in the, like, around the diameter of that event. Okay, so she's starting to act a little strange right now. Maybe she needs me. She asking for more hugs right now. Why are you being so touchy? Just give her a hug. You know, so you really, really have to understand. Don't make them shut you out because they don't see you being receptive to their pleas. You know, some people don't outwardly say, oh, I need you right now. You know, sometimes, you know, they just a little bit more needy or something about them is a little different. So really, really hone in on those things and just be the best support system you can have. Never say, I understand exactly what you're going through. Even if you lost a mother on the same day to the same cause, like they both lost someone to lupus, they can't tell each other, I know exactly what you're going through. Never do that. Don't tell somebody to be strong. Don't tell, you know, just do your best to be there and to meet their needs. Don't let someone use their pain as a crutch. Don't be abused by someone's story into manipulation and doing all these things to them just because they're wounded. You know, really, really pay attention to these people. And if you need help, if you need to talk to someone about how to deal with someone who has lost and who's walking through that journey, then seek help. You can talk to any of our people on this panel. You can reach out to anybody. I welcome anybody to get in my inbox at any time. I talk to strangers. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I want everyone to heal and to get on that road towards healing and
So Zemi's going to start this group that I've been telling her she needs to start. So Zemi Holland, look her up on Facebook and friend her so that if you do need that extra support, she has a post, a live video, a Facebook live video that's actually summarizing all of this stuff and it's really good. And then she'll talk a little bit about it. You want to check us out when we release the new video. I don't need to say anything else. You all were amazing. Thank you for sharing your innermost moments. There's nothing about anything which you shared that had to have been easy, but something that Tarahan and Zemi both said, and we don't force it as a therapist, but we encourage it, and it is talking about it because the sting is lessened when you actually talk about it, when you admit that it's not okay, when you can say that I am in pain and this sucks and I hate this. There is something freeing and liberating when you can admit to the crazy, hard emotions. There's nothing weak about crying. There's nothing weak about saying, I don't know if I can get through this day. Because by saying that out loud, I assure you that God is going to bring somebody to your life or some situation that's going to help you get through that day because you've gotten to the end of yourself and we know that He's never going to leave us or forsake us. So we are going to close with that. I see we had some persons there. I see that we also had some issues with the live feed, with the internet going in and out. Hopefully it recorded everything. We will post it shortly. You can check it out on the Stories of Hope page. I want to say thank you again to Ms. Pam Burnside for giving us her space here at Dundalek Studios. And to, this is Shandia if you missed it, Zemi, Tarahan, and Nikita for coming and sharing their heart with us. I hope that you got something, that you were inspired, that you are leaving a little bit more hopeful. Join us later this week. Subscribe to the YouTube page, like us here on Facebook so that you can see all that we are doing. We are just getting started. Can't wait to see you again.